Hello, everybody, and greetings from the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. I'm former University of Tennessee Vol basketball player Mike Edwards, along with Donnie Moore, Troy Provo-Heron, and Marcus Fitzsimmons. And this is the Goatee Sports Page. This radio sports talk show, founded by Bob Gilbert, is beginning its 44th year on the Tennessee airways. It's the longest-running sports talk show in the volunteer state. This broadcast has undergone several changes through the years, and with keeping with that tradition, this season will be no different. Goatees, the official supplier of sportswear for the show, will now take over ownership. Special thanks to Brian Johnston of Goatees for his desire to continue this Blount County sport broadcast tradition. We will have new stations on your radio dial that will carry our broadcast every Saturday morning from 10 to high noon, as we can be heard on frequency 105.1 FM and 1180 AM. We thank Loud Media and Aaron Ishmael for their commitment. All of us who have been associated with this show for the past 9 years and beyond are very excited in regard to our new format. We're deeply saddened for the loss of a veteran broadcaster of our family as Lon Hersburn passed away last spring. Lon was the only member of our crew to have been on the air for the longevity of the show, 43 years. We will miss Coach Hersburn, and we will carry on the show to the best of our abilities as he would want us to do. I know wherever he is, he will be rooting for us. Charlie Palaio, who has played a huge role in moving this sports show in an upward position, will be relocating to Atlanta, Georgia to be closer to his family. His contributions to the program have been monumental, and we wish him the best of luck. We will miss him. Our veteran broadcast crew for this year: University of Arkansas football standout and former offensive line coach at Tennessee, Ray Trail, will be back with us. He will report on all things related to Tennessee and the SEC. Good morning to you, Coach Trail. You're looking fit and fiddle and ready for another year. We're all excited. Good to see you, Guy.
Well, it's just like all over the conference right now. Everybody is excited.
Everybody's excited. The first one out of the gate's always the big one.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir. Ex-Maryville Scott footballer Donnie Moore will return and will again keep us up to date on the latest national sports news along with all the high school scores. He will also keep us in line on some of the technical aspects of this broadcast. Good morning to you, Donnie Moore, and I guess you're the veteran of all of us on this broadcast. You've been here a long time.
Well, I have, Mike, but it's a pleasure to be back and to see these smiling faces around the table here, and thanks to you, Brian, for keeping us afloat.
Yep. Troy Provo-Heron, sports director of the Daily Times, will return and will report on the high school games in Blount County and beyond. He will be the host of the Player of the Week segment. Good morning to you again, Troy.
Hey, Mike. What's going on?
And who you got on this morning?
We got the Maryville Rebels football team today. So Derek Hunt, I think we got some surprises as players, but, yeah, we're looking forward to it after a big win over Heritage on Thursday.
Veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons will be back with us and will report on special sports stories that take place in Blount County and surrounding counties. Marcus has been an integral part of this broadcast, and we look forward to hearing from him each week. Marcus, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys.
Yeah. My job on the broadcast will be to get us from one segment to the next, to talk University of Tennessee sports and throw in some venues from Major League Baseball to auto racing to the Kentucky Derby. Anything of major interest nationally or locally that is a big story, I will be reporting on it. The whistle is blown, and we hope you will join us the next 40 Saturdays for the best in Blount County sports. Brian Johnston, good to have you with us this morning. I know you've been a busy guy here, as all of us, but say a few words for us.
Well, yeah, it has. This has been a fun and exciting transition. You guys know I've been a supporter of the show since we came here over a decade ago, and we love you guys. I especially, for myself, love Lonnie probably more than I like any of you guys. But
that's understandable.
But he was always such a joy. Yeah. Every time I was here, every time I ran into him, every time I spoke to him, every time he'd come visit at my shop, it was just fun. And gosh, I miss him. And I was telling Troy the other night that the thing I miss most is that if we would have taken over, Coach Lon would have had a role that I believe everybody would have loved. We were going to have Coach Lon read player tweets and just get his response to those player tweets. And I still think about how much fun I would have with that and with him doing that. But really, I wanted to come on today just with a heart of gratitude for Blount County, specifically for Blue Tick and for Aubrey's. The things that they do for us here can't really be measured in what it takes to do this show. Here we are in their beautiful location before they're open, setting up in a great spot. They're not just giving us the spot, they're feeding us when we're done here. They're a full sponsor helping us keep this thing on the air, and I can't say enough about them. I mean, really, I just can't. But all these people that have signed back up to do the sports page for now, Charlie would say 43, but Donnie's going to tell me 44 years.
1978 is when we started the show.
So my math, right? This is 2022. That's 44 years.
That's right. This is my 44th anniversary back in June, so I've been married 44 years.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he was married on this show.
That's right. That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah, he was. He was. But just the longevity of that, I mean, we really, Blount County doesn't, I think, fully understand how awesome it is that this is truly the longest running sports show in the state of Tennessee. Anywhere.
Exactly.
So that it's such a privilege to help carry this on. But I just wanted to make mention of people like Landon over at Anderson Lumber and Knoxville TVA Credit Union and Russell Cellular, who's helping us stream this today. All of my friends over at the Blount Partnership who are just such a resource to everything that I do, but just being a part of this and seeing the importance of it. Waters Equipment, they've been here for a long time, and Stevenson Tire and Merlin's and gosh knows Denso. I mean, they help keep the community together with all the things that they support. Klein Dental Arts, the Daily Times, the fact that we get to use such great minds like Marcus and Troy. Did I just say that?
It's the first time I've ever heard that, but it felt good.
The word
Ooh,
mind,
that felt good.
the word mind
Hey,
and
well,
Troy are usually not in the same
Somebody
sentence
hit him on the head.
or paragraph.
Well, I'll follow that up with Minds and then Dunkin' Donuts, who takes care of us too. But we've had a few new folks sign up this year, and I just want to thank them. Mandy Street, Mandy's a great friend, but she's also a fantastic realtor, and she saw the importance of keeping this show going, and she signed up along with my dear friend Chris Allen up at Boyd Sports and the Tennessee Smokies. He felt the same way, and he wanted it to go on, as well as my friend Chris Blanton up at Citadel Construction. Just great human beings who also love local sports and wanted to make sure that this didn't go anywhere. And I just can't say enough about how much I appreciate that and how much that means to all of us. And for that, we want to reward this community with what we think will be some of the best shows we've ever had. We're really going to work hard to bring stuff together. Troy's got great ideas, even though I didn't want to say that either. But
A lot of firsts this morning.
but things you got to realize is, I look down here at the Greenfield Gunner and Coach Trail and Donnie, and then I look at myself in the mirror. We're getting old. This is a young man's game. So Troy is the future, right? Kind of like
I
Apocalypse
maybe.
Now.
Yeah.
That's why we call him the Wonder Kid.
Yeah, the Wonder Kid.
I feel a little bit like Fernando Tatis Jr. I just hope I don't get suspended.
Well, here's what people need to know, that when they look at something on any of our social medias and they don't like it, please message Troy. He's
Please
the one that's
don't.
responsible. So you see a picture you don't like, you hear us say something you don't like, push it to Troy, let him know.
Please don't do that.
He needs to hear that.
don't do that.
But guys, that's all I really wanted to say. I feel this hole that Coach Lon has left, and I know that you guys feel it too. And we've got some really cool T-shirts for the kids this year that honor Coach Lon, and hopefully that the kids are going to love them as much as we do. But I don't want to take up any more time. We got to talk about sports. So I'm going to pass it back off to you, Mike, and take us home.
Thank you, Brian. Let's talk some UT football and bring in former UT assistant football coach Ray Trail and Daily Times sports editor Troy Provo-Heron and longtime sports reporter Marcus Fitzsimmons. There seems to be a great deal of excitement surrounding the upcoming Tennessee football campaign. The Vols finished the season last year with a 7-6 record, and 3 of the 6 losses they had a shot at winning. Last year's offense won over the Vols faithful by putting up just a shade under 40 points per game. Hendon Hooker will be back at quarterback after a stellar performance for the Vols last year. And Coach Josh Heupel seems to have won the hearts of the Vol faithful with his hurry-up offense. Coach Trail, I'm going to start with you. We've heard all this hype before. We've been down this road before. But there seems to be maybe a little extra hype going into this season. Your thoughts?
Well, after I thought the season last year was a great first season for him. The loss at the bowl game kind of took a little luster off the game, but I think it's going to be exciting, no matter which way it goes. And I just hope that Hendon Hooker don't get hurt. I mean, we're kind of weak after him, and I that kind of concerns me that people are going to know how to play him this year better than they did last year. And but I think we're going to have a good season. We still got the big boys in the conference that's going to really test us, and we're going to have to play some great football to stay in there and compete. And when you got people like Alabama and Georgia and Texas A&M and you've got people up there that's going to be in the top 5 or 6 teams in the country, and I don't know many teams other than the SEC that you're going to play that caliber of football.
Yeah, true.
And I just think that I think we're on the right road. I just think we've got a long way to go, and we got to keep putting people in, and I think he's doing that.
Yeah.
And he's got a great recruiting class, and another quarterback coming in, a top guy, and but my philosophy has always been, I can't get away from it, is you got to build from the bottom up. I just don't think you can have a cake and just put icing on it and say that's a good cake. It's not, till you get down to the bottom. I like the idea that you need more linemen. We need more linemen. Yeah. I mean, good linemen. I don't mean just some guy to stick up there and, he's 6'3", 300 pounds. I'm talking about people that want to win.
Yeah.
And willing to make the sacrifice to do that.
Troy, let's talk a little bit about Hendon Hooker at quarterback.
Yeah.
That offense put up, as we said, about 40 points per game last year. They were 7th in the country. He's back. I would think that he would have to bear a lot on his shoulders going in here, but we talked about it before the show. You look over at the East, and we've said before, you don't want to go into a year where you don't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
But the East appears to just about every team, with exception of a couple, have got their quarterbacks back this year. So how big a part's that going to play in the success of these teams, and how difficult is that going to be to compete against one another?
Yeah, I think for one, Hendon Hooker shouldered a very huge load last year for Tennessee. I mean, we were sitting here after week 1, week 2, after that Pitt loss, and looking at Joe Milton and thinking, oh man, Tennessee's going to be really bad this year. And he stepped in, and he obviously was the single catalyst for what was a pretty remarkable first year for Josh Heupel. And so I think, there's definitely that where you have to, rely on him a lot. But I think, he came into a situation where he was just learning Heupel's offense, and now he goes into year 2, and it's like, all right, how much more comfortable does he feel? And I think when you talk about kind of the returning experience of quarterback in the SEC East in general, that's huge. I think you rarely ever see in college football. I think you see it sometimes in the pros where you have that dip from year 1 to year 2, but that rarely happens in college football because you are still growing as a player and you're still progressing, you're still understanding more. And so I think it's a really good fit, specifically for Tennessee right now with how well Hendon played. I mean, you got people talking about him as a Heisman contender, dark horse Heisman contender, but still a Heisman contender nonetheless. And so, I think you feel really good about that position if you're Tennessee, and you certainly feel a lot better about it better today than you did this time a year ago.
Yeah. Marcus Fitzsimmons, we're feeling pretty good about the quarterback position, but you can throw that ball all over the field, but you got to have somebody to catch it. And they've got Cedric Tillman back, quality player, but after him, we got some unproven guys to catch the football.
I think there's a lot of opportunity, which is another way of saying there's a lot of points to fall down as well. They've got guys that potentially could step up. We're going to have to see them do it first they're going to have to do it against Bowling Green, but we're going to have to see them do it against an SEC caliber team and SEC caliber defense.
Yeah, well, they're first going to be able to do it against Ball State Teachers College in 2 weeks from up in Muncie, Indiana. Coach Trail, you been to Muncie, Indiana?
No, not if I can help it.
Well, it's not the
Not on purpose.
It's not the tourist capital of the world. It's a good high school basketball town, but not much to see and things. But they're coming in here.
Mike loves when the Indiana schools come down.
Yeah. Well, the only thing going for Muncie and Ball State when they roll in here in a couple of weeks is the fact that their main colors are crimson and white. And you know who wears crimson and white, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Alabama.
What's
So we'll see.
it's David Letterman too, right?
Yeah,
So
David Letterman. Hey, he may be here.
He could
Well,
make-
we can have him on the show, Donnie.
Yeah, we
bring
should-
him on
let's
in
get
here
him
and
on
let him
in
go.
here.
If he has some good jokes, maybe you get the Tennessee players laughing and see what happens.
Coach Trail, let's talk about another big area of concern, and that's the Tennessee defense. They gave up 29.1 points per game last year, 90th in the country. I'll tell you right now, I know we're going to put some points back on the board. I don't know if we can put 40 back up there again with everybody seeing film and knowing what we're going to be doing. Hopefully we can, but we can't give up 30, can we? I mean, we can't give up 30 and continue to to win games and get done what we want to get done here in this program as far as Tennessee's concerned.
This is the thing that concerns me more than anything over there is everybody talks about offense, and you got to play defense. I'm telling you now, in this league, you better be able to play defense, or you get into the game just like the bowl game. Well, the score of that 40 to 38 or something. I mean, it was some, but the thing is, you start with your defense, and I that goes back all the way to General Nealon.
That's right.
You got to play defense first. When I came here in 1966, we took all of our offensive players that were worth a dime. Didn't have many, but we put them all on defense. Put everybody on defense, and when you lined up on offense, I mean, it was like 3 downs and punt. That was just going to be the deal. So what do? You go get Ron Whitby, who's one of the greatest punters we ever had,
right.
and we do that. You go, just don't fumble the ball, and he'll kick it 60 yards, and they'll be starting, backed up. But you got to have something that you can lean on.
Coach, there are a lot of teams out there, and the numbers are getting greater all the time that you just can't outscore.
No, you can't.
There's no guarantee that Tennessee's going to put up 40 a game
No,
this
no.
year. Well, hopefully they do, but we'd like to think that maybe they're not going to score. The opposing team's not going to score 29 either.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll offset each other, but.
Sure.
Well, I'm just saying from outside looking in that you got to play defense at some time.
Absolutely.
And your
Right.
offensive line, if you like we got 5, but we don't have many backups. And
Right, the depth.
those guys playing all
Yep.
those downs, they got to have some support.
Yeah.
And you just can't keep doing that because other people's, they have had a year to look at our offense. They've studied it, they've looked at it, they've gone over it, and they will play it better this year. I guarantee you, teams that have good personnel will do better.
Yeah.
Right.
Troy, I want to talk about something that was a big problem last year. You talk about the defense, but another big problem they had last year was the fact that they couldn't put 4 quarters together consistently. They'd get off to a good start, and then all of a sudden they'd tail off. They'd tail off as the kind of the game went on.
Right.
They'd go into a valley and let somebody else to catch up, such as Purdue last year in the bowl game.
Yeah.
How do you see that? Do you see more depth out there maybe that's going to help that consistency a little bit better? How do you see that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so much hype around Tennessee this year, and maybe not like national championship hype, but there's a good deal of hype around them for being able to be a really good program. And I think we forget that last year they're kind of thrown into a situation where post-NCAA, probation, players transferring, all that stuff, they didn't really have that depth. And I feel like now Josh Heupel has had a year to recruit, his type of player and all that stuff. And so I do believe that in the end they will be, a more consistent team from first, second, third, fourth quarter. I think they'll be a better defensive team. And again, it kind of all starts with that quarterback, and I trust him. So
Yeah.
Well, he don't play defense.
he does not.
no.
But maybe he can. You
He
don't-
might.
Ray, you
He
don't know
might
that.
if he throws some interceptions. He might play some defense. Hey, Marcus Fitzsimmons. Let's talk about something a lot of Tennessee fans don't like to bring up, and that's Alabama, Florida, and Georgia. And they kind of weigh the success of the program on those three schools. Pretty much, if you're going to turn the corner, you're going to have to beat Alabama, Florida, Georgia sooner or later. Well, let's look at the past history. Tennessee's lost 15 straight games to Alabama. They've lost 14 out of 15 to Florida, and they've lost 5 straight to Georgia. That's 1-34. 1-34 in those 3 games. They've got Florida and Alabama at home and Georgia on the road. What do you think?
Well,
We're going to get up to 2 or?
I think
or-
I love your optimism, Mike, because at this point I think the program is, can we still beat Kentucky, Vanderbilt, South Carolina?
I think that's fair.
Because you're a middle of the road program, and if you don't want to slip and have a second year drop, those 3 you've got to beat.
Yeah, and throw in Missouri.
We'll throw in Missouri.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still hard for me to accept that they're an East team when they're in the Central Time Zone.
Hey,
But
Vanderbilt's in the Central Time Zone.
Vanderbilt's not a team.
Vanderbilt is not a team.
Good point.
But to beat those 3, that's the stepping ladder up. And I think it's the same place Tennessee has been before, which is you've got to get one of those off of your back consistently. You've got to be able to show you can at least start beating one of those year in, year out. And who that's going to be, I mean, you look at Florida, you would think the Gators are down. The collapse after last year, who knows how they've recovered from that. That, you know, Tennessee has a chance there, but you're not catching Georgia or Alabama within the next 4 years, no matter how much you recruit, because those guys go from 5-star to 5-star to 5-star to NIL 5-star coming in next year. I mean, their depth is just incredible as far as the quality of it.
Troy, Alabama and Georgia would be a monumental. I mean, you know, if we come out and win one of those games, I mean, we can really start talking about turning the corner. But everybody's really pointing toward Florida. Really pointing toward Florida, that this is a game that if you're wanting to turn the corner, this is the one in the league that you got to get. You see it that way?
Yeah, I think I agree with Marcus. Like, I think you look at Tennessee this year and you think they should beat Missouri. You should beat South Carolina. Vanderbilt it's not really a football program, so you should beat them, and you should beat Kentucky. And I think Kentucky's going to have a good team, but I'm not believing Kentucky's beaten Tennessee until they actually beat Tennessee. It never happens. They were a really good football team last year and couldn't beat Tennessee. So
Well, we threw, 7, 8 interceptions in the first half of the year they did do it.
yeah, so I think I agree with Marcus. Like, you have to beat one of those 3 teams, and Alabama and Georgia are not the 2 that you're going to beat in that situation. Florida is to me, if you want to talk about taking the next step as a program in year 2 under Josh Heupel, that's it. Like, you have to win that game against Florida. It's a must-win game.
Yeah. I think if you don't beat Florida, it's a major disappointment this year.
Yes, I
based
agree.
on where you're at.
Well, I tell you what now, don't sell Florida short,
Won't.
because they have a place to recruit down there.
yeah.
They some of the best players.
Well, and I'm not selling them short. I'm also saying this.
Yeah.
The same thing I said about Kentucky beating
Yeah,
Tennessee,
yeah.
that also holds true for Tennessee beating Florida.
Well,
Tennessee has had better teams than Florida a lot in recent years, and they have lost because
well,
they
let's go
see
back
ghosts.
to the Kentucky game. They if they call that penalty there at the end, face mask grabbing that guy, and they didn't even call it, Kentucky has a chance to win that ball game.
Yeah.
I mean, it was right there at the end, and it was a very obvious foul that they grabbed the quarterback face mask and twisted his head plumb around, and nobody called it. And, you know, that would have given Kentucky a first down, and who knows what would happen then.
Yep.
So, I mean, we didn't actually beat them.
Final score said they beat them.
We just ended up with
Right.
more points than they did.
Well, you know, you look at Mississippi, we could have got that game. We could have got the Purdue game. You know, they kind of all even out, you know, a lot of times in years.
But the thing that I think is if we got beat in the second half of those games.
Right.
And that was because of lack of personnel, and I
Depth.
hope we've got more people that can play and help us.
right.
We needed some help on
Yeah.
defense.
Ray, I want to ask you something here because I've thought about this all summer because I know your maxim is you gotta play like you practice.
Yeah.
So the way Tennessee's offense works, that quick snap, that
Yeah.
running up and down the field, does that not take advantage of that lack of tackling practice and that lack of work that they're able to do these days? Is Heupel not really capitalizing on that lack of contact practice on the defenses with the way he runs that offense?
Yeah, I think he spends more time on offense and not as much on defense. He's got his emphasis all on offense, and he's waiting on somebody else to bring the defense along. And I think that's a bad thing for our head coach. I think our head coach has got to see the whole deal and not just this. And I think he's doing that. But we got to get somebody on defense over here so that we don't have to score 50 points to win. And that's my philosophy. If they don't win, I got a chance to win.
Yeah.
But if they whipping us with points, I mean, this is a struggle every time. Right. You go out there, you can't afford a mistake, you can't afford a bad penalty.
You got to look to score on about every possession you get the football.
And
Troy, another thing that concerns me about this team is, got all the hype right now. Everybody's excited. They're looking for a lot of improvement. All teams are going to have some rough times.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have some rough places in the road. Coach, I played over there.
Yeah.
And you coached over there, and when you hit those rough places, you don't know how your squad's going to react. You don't know how they're going to come back. And they got an early game against Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. Everybody's kind of writing Pittsburgh off. You don't hear much talk about Pittsburgh. You hear talk just like us this morning.
Yeah.
I brought up Florida, and I brought up Jordan out. But Pittsburgh, Troy, right now in the preseason rankings, and I know you can't go in a lot by that. I know they lost their quarterback from last year. He's out of there, and he really beat us pretty much single-handedly over here last year. But they're ranked 17th in the country in preseason. You can't overlook them one bit, and if we don't get that game, how are they going to react to the Florida game or the next game? Maybe
you don't ever know. I mean,
you don't know.
That's the whole thing. Is you can't up here like we're doing as a coach. You can't say, well, we ought to win this game. We ought to win this game and this.
That's the fans. That's us.
You can't do that.
Right.
I mean, you got to play every game.
That's why you play them.
And the next one is the most important one, not the one down here. Mm-hmm. The one right here is the most important one. And there's a lot of coaches, they start kind of picking out games like just like we did. You ought to win this one. You ought to win this one, and all.
Yep.
And that don't work.
Looks good on paper.
Yeah.
It looks good on. Looks real easy on paper.
Yeah, I tell you what.
But when you get out there on the field and from one week to the next, where you got injuries and you lost the week before and you lose some momentum, it all changes.
I tell you, it changes every week.
I personally am not worried about Pitt.
Okay.
I've told you this.
Oh,
for
I know.
months.
You're not worried
I'm
about
not worried
any
Pitt.
football
No.
team. You're not worried about any football team, Troy, that plays north of the Mason-Dixon line.
No.
That's the deal.
All
That's
those
the
teams-
deal.
all those
Maybe
teams-
a little bit of Ohio
all those
State,
teams
but not
stink.
much.
Yeah,
But-
Ohio
How
State.
about Hawaii?
Hawaii is technically, I believe, south of the Mason-Dixon
He's
line.
going
I
to take
believe.
him every time, Hawaii.
Hey, they play Vanderbilt week one.
He picks him and eats his pineapple.
Hey,
right after he picks
They
him.
play Vanderbilt week one.
Well, if they add them, I'm sure they'll be in the SEC East.
Hey, it's time to turn the page, and next up is the local scoreboard and Mark It Down featuring Marcus Fitzsimmons. You're listening to the Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 90 years, Anderson Lumber Company in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. Locally owned, so the money made here stays here. Whether you're renovating a kitchen, bath, new floors, doors, or windows, Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store and can take care of you from design to install. We welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa for all your home's needs, or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber since 1925.
Make the big play with MVP Money Tools from Knoxville TBA Employees Credit Union. With KTBA ECUs, contactless debit card, direct deposits that hit up to 2 days early, credit cards that earn cashback reward points, and loans with competitive rates. Add all 4 MVP Money Tools to build your financial roster. It's everything you need to win financially.
Join us now.
Federally insured by NCUA. Equal Opportunity Housing Lender. Restrictions may apply. Call for details. 800-467-5427.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com. We all want our loved ones to be safe. Denso in Maryville is at the forefront of creating technology for safer vehicles. Join the automotive industry with Denso in a fast, challenging, clean, and safe environment. They offer great benefits and competitive pay, as well as a convenient on-site healthcare facility, cafes, fitness center, and more. Start your future now. Entry-level production positions start at $16 an hour for second or third shift. Visit densocareers.com/Maryville to learn more and apply. Klein Dental Arts is your new home for compassionate, worry-free dentistry. You can see Dr. Todd Klein and his staff at their dental home at 1905 West Broadway Avenue across from Weigel's. Klein Dental Arts offers complete dental care for the whole family, including 24-hour emergency care, flexible hours, and thoughtful care for patients with dental anxiety. Let Klein Dental Arts be your new dental home. Discover the difference and find your smile again. Call today at 983-0941. Merlin's Music World in Maryville is owned and operated by Dylan Davis and has been a fixture in Maryville since 1987. Guitars, amplifiers, lessons, sound system, and video system installations are products available at Merlin's. Merlin's also offers a 24-track digital recording studio featuring audio engineer Rusty Chambers. Visit Merlin's at 1920 East Lamar Alexander Parkway or call 977-0093. The Blue Tick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County.
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards along with the rest of our broadcast crew, and now it's time for the local scoreboard brought to you by Donnie Moore. Donnie, first weekend of high school football last night, all the local teams in action. Give everybody the lowdown, how the teams did.
You got it, my friend. We've got, like you said, first week in action for our local teams. We've got we had a game on Thursday night this week. Heritage traveled over to Maryville High School and were treated rather rudely by the Rebels. Ended up, I think it was 38-0 at halftime.
Yes.
Troy, you went with, didn't you?
I was there, yeah, 38-0 at halftime.
Oh, wow. I tell you, 38-0 at halftime. And I think they kind of took the foot off the gas in the second half, played a lot of the substitutes in the second half, and Heritage scored there with about 3 minutes to go in the game. 45-7 was your final over at Maryville. Maryville's looking strong this year, aren't they, Troy?
Yeah, I mean, I think they have probably more question marks, and we'll talk about this some when they get here later, but I think they have some more question marks than we're typically used to Maryville having, but I think around Class 6A it's kind of the case as well, so I think they're in good shape. Yeah, you're right. Let's move this to also another Thursday game. This is moving away from football just a little bit, but a District 2A soccer match. Alcoa versus Gatlinburg Pittman, 7-0 for the Lady Tornadoes. 7-0. And Charlotte Timon, the 21 Daily Times Player of the Year, scored 4 goals in that match. Appreciate that shout out.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
That was goodness. That was a monster game for Charlotte. 7-0 was that final over Gatlinburg Pittman. Back to football then. Last night's action, Alcoa traveled down to Ray County, and pretty much had their way with the Golden Eagles in the first half. 38 points, I think, in the first half there, and that was all the scoring for the Tornadoes. Ended up the 38-21, but
good first win for Brian Nix.
yeah, it was. Coach Nix had
They're up 14-0 before the offense ever touched the field.
Yeah, really.
I like that.
That was. They had good special teams play right there in the first half, and but ended up winning that one 38-21 over Ray County. TKA versus CAK. The CAK came to Kings Academy and won that one 16-0 over TKA. Seymour hosted Gatlinburg Pittman last night, and I guess they wished they hadn't.
You have to put it that way.
Well, GP looked pretty good last night,
Well,
from what I understand.
GP's a good program. And
They are.
That's a rivalry game
Always.
that
It is.
where size does not matter.
True.
And my Eagles came out.
Marcus
on the
is just a
downside of it.
Seymour alum. That's all.
That's true. I know. You love your Eagles.
Boyd's Creek
but,
University.
Boyd's Creek University, that's true. But Gatlinburg Pittman won that one 45-14. Boyd Buchanan hosted Greenback last night, and Gary Rankin University prevailed over the Cherokees 62-0 last night.
That's a normal Gary Rankin score.
That's true. It is.
Used to those.
Yeah, get used to that. You're right. WB traveled to Clinton. William Blunt went to Clinton last night in the new coach debut last night, and Coach Reeves took it on the chin last night. Compliments of the Dragons, 48-0.
If you're going into the house of the Dragons, you've got to be prepared.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
I think they had 100 yards of total offense last night.
Played a T formation, didn't they?
They were
a lot of the time.
They were at -23 when it was 20-0.
Yeah, 48-0.
Good.
Compliments of Clinton last night. And I could not find a score of the Seymour versus Boyd Buchanan ladies soccer match last night at the Smoky Mountain Cup at Rocky Top Sports World. So,
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, couldn't find it. So sorry about that. That'll do it for local scoreboard.
Donnie, before you switch there to Marcus, I know you're going there.
I am, yeah.
But I want to mention that Heritage and William Blunt did have rough openers in the football.
Yeah, they did.
But they did have some good news this week, as they're going to get turf.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to get turf on their football fields, and I
That's true.
think that's exciting for both of those programs.
After-
And Marcus and
after the season.
Troy, you might want to comment on that, but I know they're looking
I
forward
think
to
it'll
that.
be nice. I think they're really excited to have
They
that
are.
and kind of be
Well
on a more
deserved.
even playing field.
Well deserved. You're right.
Well, it's going to be they're literally the last two schools in the area who are going to be
Yes.
getting turf.
True.
And they need it. I mean, it's proven itself as a money saver.
Well, they really couldn't. They couldn't not get it after Eagleton Career Academy
Yeah.
was going to get it. So
Now, Coach Trail and I, we prefer grass, don't we? Us old guys like to get down and get that grass in our helmet and everything else, right? That,
I like
that turf,
that
that's just
turf is that's
mud all over us.
Yeah.
Well,
What's
you
happened
don't
to
get
those
the
days?
mud all over you, but
Holy.
you get those little rubber pellets in your
yeah, you get your pellets in your
Oh,
shoes. That's-
Lord.
That's true.
But
Oh.
you know, the thing is, whether you're on grass or fake grass, you got to play.
Right.
You know, that's
true. You do.
That's the thing. You got to play, and you can't take it. Well, we got a new turf, so we're
Right.
uptown.
Well, Troy,
You
I don't
gotta
know
win.
The details are they doing those fields where they can use them for lacrosse as well?
I did not look like that on the rendering.
I was hoping they were going to do a multi-purpose, which the Sevier County schools did, where they can use them for soccer, lacrosse.
I understand that's what this is
And
going to be
football.
used
They're
for. That's going to
supposed
be
to.
for all the other sports at these schools. Well,
Hopefully that'll be what comes out of this. So we'll see. We'll see
Well,
how it goes.
that makes a good segue because we got some people here who probably have a real opinion about turf and
Hold
grass.
on, Marcus. Let me introduce you.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons and his feature, Mark It Down.
Who's bringing us market down this year, Donnie?
That's a good question.
Okay.
Trying to figure all that stuff out
You are.
still.
Okay, I'm
Go
bringing
Tees
market
is.
down. All right. Thank you to Go Tees. We have Alcoa Soccer in the house, and we're going to follow through with that segue, even though we kind of had to start and interrupt. Coach Andy Bird's here. First year with the program, taking over for a real veteran with Shane Corley. Coach, given your all's preference, would you rather play on one of those multi-purpose fields, or would you rather be on the grass?
I'm going to say turf. Yeah.
Really?
As a player, I probably would prefer the grass, but as a coach, turf, just because it provides more of a uniform
You know what
condition
you're-
for the ball.
Well,
what
the
you're
main
getting.
thing is you don't have to mow the grass. You know, I mean,
Hey, and he's a young guy. He's only about 25 years old.
Yes, I agree. 27.
27. Not
Thank you
not
for
bad. I was close.
for the compliment. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. But yes, you don't have to mow it and you don't have to line it. So there's a lot of upkeep on a field that people don't realize.
True that.
It's a daily thing
Yeah.
if you have a really nice Bermuda pitch.
Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And now that we've thrown you in the fire right away, first year at Alcoa, what's been the biggest transition for you as far as coming in and taking this program over?
Biggest transition is in the school. It's just a much smaller school, so that's the deal there. In school wise, transition wise for the kids, I left a great group of girls at Heritage High School, and I come to a great group of girls at Alcoa. And there's not been much of a transition. Maybe them getting used to me, because I've been doing it for 24 years. So me coming over was not really a big step in my mind, except it was a new place. But I got great girls at Heritage, and then walked into a great set of girls here, and great leadership. I think this program has better leadership in regards to age, to whereas in Heritage didn't have a lot of veterans out there. We were dealing with a lot of new players last year. But with that being said, we do have 12 freshmen on our team right now at Alcoa. So we did get a really big group of freshmen, but the leaders, like the two that I brought today, are absolutely phenomenal.
And you walked right into that for me, and I appreciate it. Go ahead and introduce the two you brought with you this morning.
It's brought Scout Lauterbach. She's here. She plays in the back for us, kind of is the anchor of the team. And right behind her is Ella Murray, who's just a tremendous goalkeeper, one of the best of the area, in my opinion.
And both veterans, and I'm going to start with. I'll toss it to both of you. Postseason last year, made a great run, got to the state championship game, and got a disappointing finish there. What did that do? What did this team bring back from that? Is this team hungry to get back and try for the state title again?
100%. We're in it to win it.
Yeah, we're definitely ready to get back there and just put in the work to go back.
Well, it was a good opening. You play CAK the first game, you get a draw there, but then if people missed that score earlier when Donnie gave it or missed it in the Daily Times, 7-0 win over GP, who on paper I think Troy and I agreed was going to be the biggest challenge in the region for you all, and I think we agreed they have a lot of room. GP has room to grow, but
Yeah.
from 7-0, that's got to be an encouraging start for you, Coach.
Yeah, it was great. We just came out and took care of business. We went at them early and often, and took us a quick moment. But then once we started rolling, it just was downhill from there. Once we got the first goal, it was downhill. I appreciated them coming down, and they're a young squad, so they'll be okay in a year or so. But they came in and they had a lot of places that were vulnerable, and we were lucky enough to find them early and really dominated most of the game. And the difference between the CAK game and the Gatlinburg-Pittman game is we finished. And that's what I've been pushing on these kids since day one, is we can't just shoot. We must finish, and we must finish often. And they'll tell you from our practices for the last week and a half, we've had finishing segments in every single one. So that's what we're really focusing on, just finishing.
And that's kind of where I was going with. Charlotte had the 4-goal game, well on her way to repeating, maybe breaking that 32 she put up last year. But she had a couple shots before the first one went in. I mean, you all were pressing that attack hard because she scored in the 7th minute.
Yes, it was one-sided. It was one-sided. I mean, if you were there, it was just one-sided game. And like I said, we were clicking on all cylinders. We had the support from the back. I think, honestly, sometimes our backs were out of the game simply because they were just not very engaged, simply because we were dominating. So,
and you had mentioned the freshman group you had in, so I'm going to give that same shout. Natalie Crisp has 2 goals. One of them following right up to put you up by 2. And you mentioned when you were talking to the Daily Times about her data points, and I was just curious, what data points were you kind of looking at as far as saying that she has some of the best data points among freshmen?
Well, I collect data all season, and so it's a transparent. It's on a spreadsheet, and you've got shots on goal, you've got shots, you've got assists, you've got a T-test, you've got a 40-yard dash, you've got a 12-minute run, you've got passing gates, you've got dribbling gates, you've got juggling, and the list just goes on. And usually twice a week I collect those stats, and that's where the starters come from. So the kids, it's transparent for them. They don't per se like it because it kind of puts them out forward, but it's transparent to them, so the people that lead in data always start. And if you're leading in data, you're going to play. And so it puts more of a meaning behind practice. But it also shows the kids their progression through the season. And it also shows the kids, well, I didn't play as much last game. What do I need to do this game? And you can look at your data and say, well, it looks like I need to pass. I need to work on my passing. So they can go home after school, wherever they can go, get a ball, knock it off the wall, work on their passing and get it, just improve on their own.
This sounds like a methodology to the Behind the Madness, Troy.
Yeah.
I mean, this is more organized. We've gotten more detailed behind-the-scenes view here just in these last 2 minutes than I think we've gotten from any soccer coach in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Let me turn to the players a little bit. We're talking about offense, and of course the 7 goals were exciting, but it was also a shutout, and that's got to make the defense happy, right?
Yes, that's definitely something that is one of our goals this season, is to just continue to connect out of the back and just play out of the back, and so we keep it shut down in the back and there's no goals in.
So when playing keeper, what do you like about this back line you have in front of you? What do they do well for you?
We communicate really well together, and we're able to not only talk, but we're able to listen and comprehend and just put that on the field. We're able to connect. We can swing it through the back and then get a switch off, and that's how we're able to connect up top and score the goals.
What's the best part about defending with this team? What's the best part as far as what do you like about what this program's doing right now?
As a goalkeeper, I know that my back line has my back, and that if I come out, they're going to be able to step in and cover the backside. If I'm going front post, they're able to get the backside.
And also, it's just the thing, everything about the team, you build from the back. You come from the back. She starts, you pass it through the back, you pass it to the front. That's how you score goals. You have to build each play is building from the back. That's how you score.
And having an offense like that, it's got to be kind of exciting to make that transition and get that ball upfield to them. Do you get to you don't really get to sit back and rest, but do you like seeing what they do when you get them the ball?
100%. And it's really cool to just see, get a watch back and see them just pass through people. It's awesome.
Well, you're 2 games in, still a long way to go, but is there anybody sitting there on the calendar you all have circled from last year that you're really looking forward to playing at this point?
Maryville.
I could have guessed that one.
Boy, that's a real surprise.
I know. Alcoa looking forward to playing Maryville.
Woo! Yeah. Just a few days away.
Yep.
It is.
So, Coach, obviously they're making some transitions to your style and play. What do you think's what's been the biggest change for them as far as your style of soccer?
That might be a question for them.
Probably 3 backs. Yeah.
Definitely playing a different formation, running only 3 in the back instead of 4.
But I think we have a really strong group of people on the field, so that it balances every way. It helps it a lot. I think there's weaknesses, but there's also strengths in that.
And soccer players between clubs and all the different levels y'all can play, and you're used to different systems, but how long did it take to adjust? Was it something y'all had to kind of scratch your head about at first?
Yes, it definitely took us a long time to adjust, because it's something that, especially with high school, that we've never done. I've never played a 3-back ever since I've moved to 11v11. I've never played a 3-back. So as a goalkeeper, it was definitely something that I had to adjust to and just learn how to move the team from that.
For club, I played 3-back, so it wasn't as hard to adjust for me, but having helped other players adjust definitely was a bigger task than I thought it was going to be.
Coach, what's that move designed to do? Is it to give you more offense?
Yes. If you're fast in the back, you can work out of the back, and those outside backs can attack, which we're developing. Trying to get Scout to get involved in that a little bit as well, but she kind of sits in there and holds us together. She's been the glue that binds us together. But at the same time, you got Peyton Potts on the outside attacking. You got Natalie Haynes out on the outside attack, and you've got Whitley Piercy on the outside. So these outside backs are designed to be able to attack if you've got a 3-back system, as long as your central midfield drops in Polly's been doing a great job with that. She's been dropping in for us. I've not asked her to do it. She's just doing it naturally. She's a covering player for us. And really, it bolsters your attack. You've got an extra center midfield in there. And in theory, we should be scoring more goals. So that's behind it is we've got Charlotte, but also who else is going to be that natural goal scorer for us and that go-to player to have the last pass per se into the goal. And hopefully Natalie steps into that role. So far she has, but we've got some other kids too that are right on the cusp of playing or being able to become that goal scorer for us too. So that puzzle has not been solved yet, and it will be a puzzle that we'll be solving all season, and hopefully before that state championship game we're able to put that last piece in and really have a great run there.
And adding on to that, we have a player on our team, Annalise. She is really, really strong player. You can put her anywhere and she will cover, and she knows the game just as well as about anyone I've ever met. So she's one of our wings. She can hit those crosses in that we have to finish, and that's something we're practicing on, and that's something how we're scoring. It's because of her. She's helping us.
Coach, I'll finish up with one more thing. You talked about finishing. You talked about working on that in practice. How do you work on finishing in practice? What kind of drills do you run to emphasize that?
Well, it's kind of a lot of people in this area that don't know soccer. You think that, all right, they're going to line up in a line and they're going to run and hit the ball into the goal, right? Shoot the ball into the goal. A lot of people think that that's what we do, but it's not like that at all. You just set up different game situations, and so the kids are always playing soccer, but then you want to work to where they're favoring, being able to finish in the second and the first 18. So that's what we've been working on, a lot of short-sided games to where the goals are apparent, and you turn around, there's a goal there, you need to be taking care of the ball and finishing it. So a lot of combination play, but it's not as complex as a lot of other sports. If the kids are playing and enjoying a little scrimmage side, you just make it a little bit easier to score by shrinking the field or adding an extra player, or, maybe making it a numbers up game, and they get comfortable and they love striking the ball. Everybody loves striking the ball, and so trying to get them to where they're striking the ball with a purpose and again, work on finishing, because we're going to have Charlotte finishing. But behind that, the question is who's going to be that next player finishing. So, and
as far as the shout-outs, I'll give you a chance, people that have been helping you out and getting adjusted and helping getting that field ready and all those little things. Got any shout-outs for the parents or assistants or the school?
I have a shout-out. Reed Gossett. Love Reed. He's awesome.
Little Reed Gossett. And I say he's little, but he's a little guy with a huge heart. His Eagle Scout project was to build those player benches that we now have, and to make that area more of a soccer complex instead of just a per se soccer field. And so Reed did that this summer with the help of his dad. Brian Gossett came in. Josh Stevens has been really helpful in field extension and getting stuff done. On the daily, Terry Reed has been very, very helpful with the transition. He's a goalkeeper coach. He's actually running a little finishing session right now. Michael Bauman has come in from the middle school, and he's helping me, just get things aligned in regards to how things are done at Alcoa. Pre-game, you've got Michael Earhart out there. You got Wayne Dewar out there. They're setting up all the sound. They're setting up, and then, we've got a guy who mows. And no one ever gives him any credit.
The mowing guy is important.
Yeah, Doyle does a great job out there. He's out mowing for us and painting for us. And there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that you all know already that goes in the production of any sport, be it basketball, soccer, or football. There's so much legwork before the game. So I'm just very, very thankful for those guys. They just come in and been tremendous.
Well, we appreciate you coming in on Saturday morning. And we wish you all the best luck. Hopefully we'll get a chance to visit with you again this season before we get into that postseason bracket. But best of luck, and thanks again for coming in, and congrats on the win over GP.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for
Thank
having
you
us.
so much.
And with that, Mike, I guess we'll go ahead and turn the page.
Thanks, Marcus. We'll take a timeout here, and when we return, Daily Times sports editor Troy Provo Heron announces the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week. You're listening to the Sports Page, Blount County Sports Voice, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Blue Tick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Or sink your teeth into our one-of-a-kind chicken and bacon pizza. made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon, red onions, and covered in Brussels petals. The Blue Tick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Blue Tick Tavern, located at 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville. The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month.
Your newspaper? That's right. The Daily Times is your newspaper, tailored to where you live, emphasizing the things that affect you and keeping track of the people and players in our community. The award-winning Daily Times can be delivered each morning right to your door or inbox with the latest in local news and sports. For a 30-day free trial offer, call 981-1100 and begin enjoying your life, your times, every day with the Daily Times.
Dunkin' has what you need to conquer the day. So if you want to go from, I don't got this, to, I got this, well, then get this. A bold, smooth espresso drink from Dunkin'. Like a layered velvety caramel macchiato, a rich chocolatey mocha latte, or a creamy non-dairy oat milk latte. Because this day isn't going to conquer itself. No, you're going to do that. Take a sip of You Got This with Dunkin' Espresso drinks. Order ahead on the app plus earn rewards. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary.
For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensonTire.net. Waters Equipment is your East Tennessee New Holland agriculture and construction dealer. Waters Equipment has been serving Blount County for 48 years and has 2 locations in Maryville for sales and service for New Holland equipment. Offering shop and field service for trucks and equipment of all brands, Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000 for your rental needs. That's 238-9000. Waters Equipment New Holland. Excellence in service. For over 90...
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week. And before we get to that, Coach Trail, we were talking about turf and grass. I hate to be on that this morning, but it was a big thing back in Greenfield, Indiana. We had one football field, and, we had to practice on it. And after about 3 or 4 weeks, there wasn't anything on there but dirt.
Yeah, between the middle.
Yeah, those are the good old days.
Yeah.
And then for homecoming, it was a big deal because they'd bring the fire trucks out there and spray the dirt.
Yeah.
So everybody could watch the game. They don't know how lucky they've got it.
It's advanced so much. Don't even talk about it.
And you'd go home with your uniform and it'd be nothing but mud. And your mom would go, well, what do you want me to do with this? Those are the good old days. Hey, Troy, you got Maryville football in there. Help make them famous, guy. It's all yours.
That's all I try and do is just try and help them out a little bit. I'm joined by Maryville football coach Derek Hunt, junior running back Gage Ledoux, and senior quarterback Matthew Clemmer. And, Coach, I just kind of want to start with 45-7 win over Heritage. How good did it feel to kind of kick the season off and kind of find as much success as y'all did?
Yeah, it felt good, getting off to a good start. That's the goal every year and every game, really. Obviously, and we talked about this Friday night, when you watch the tape, there's a lot of things that we've got to clean up, and of course we have really high expectations, and our kids practice really hard, and so we want to perform and execute well, and so you watch the tape and it's like, man, why didn't we do this and this and this? So it's easy for us to to nitpick, but when you step back as a whole, I was really proud of the effort that our kids gave, and we didn't make mistakes for lack of effort. It was just first game, stuff like that, so we were really happy.
Gage, how nice is week one? Y'all have been practicing for so long. It's been hot. all that stuff, and to finally get out there and it actually count, just how exciting for a player is that to just kind of get it going?
It's an awesome feeling when you've been working all summer long, and then you get to go out there and see all the people in the stands and put your uniforms on. It's amazing.
Coach, we talked a lot in the preseason about how it kind of felt like, maybe more so than in recent years, there were some question marks on this team, whether it be, transfer quarterback, whether it be wide receiver, secondary, all that stuff. When you did go back and look at the film, just kind of how did you feel about those specific positions where there were those question marks heading into week one?
So far, so good. Time will tell when we face tour tests, and Heritage is obviously a new coach, a lot of new stuff on their side too. But, off to a good start for sure. And here's the deal. We believe in our kids. We push them hard in the offseason and expect a lot out of them. And we do that so that when we get out there on Friday nights, they can experience success and enjoy it. And so, we've got some really good players. Even, going into this year on offense, we knew we were losing a lot from last year's senior class. But we knew we had some really good players returning, guys that could make plays with the football. So it's our job as coaches to put them at quarterback, running back, receiver, whatever, in positions to do things that they do really well. That's our job. And so that's our goal moving forward. And I'm really, really excited and positive about our future.
Matthew, we talked about this on Friday, but there aren't probably too many positions and players in the state who get looked at more than Maryville's quarterback, and that's in a normal year. You replacing a guy like Carson Jones and all that kind of stuff just adds to it. Just how much did that kind of pressure kind of leave your shoulders a little bit when the first play goes for 80 yards and you're up 7-0 just like that?
Yeah, I was definitely nervous, and there is pressure being the quarterback at Maryville, but it does help when you got guys like Noah Vaughn that'll take that first pass 80 yards, and it definitely helped a lot. So.
Obviously, your coach and your position coach, he played quarterback at this position. He kind of understands that pressure. Just what was his message to you heading into game one?
He told me that, just relax. It's nothing we don't work on every single day in practice. The stuff we run out there, we rep over and over and over in practice. And he said, just relax and do your thing. And he gave me a lot of confidence going into the game.
Derek, we've talked a lot about how Matthew has progressed since he came onto campus. Just how nice was it for you to kind of see him have 4 touchdown success in week one and maybe kind of get that pressure off his back a little bit?
Yeah, he didn't press, and that was the biggest thing. And I was excited for him, not surprised at all, because I've got to see him every day in practice and see how talented he is and how far he's come in such a short time, and he's bought in and his teammates love him and he's super coachable, and that's what you got to do to kind of do what he's done in a matter of months, and so obviously he's got some tools around him and that helps, but he's doing a phenomenal job. And Matthew, I think, could be the first to admit he's still got a long way to go and can get a lot better, and I think that's scary, for some opposing teams. And he's going to continue to get better. We're going to push him, and guys like Gage, will help him do that.
Gage, me and Coach have talked a lot about the question marks, whether it be receiver, replacing 3 offensive linemen, new quarterback, all that stuff. The one thing that we knew about this offense was you and Noah Vaughn and just how much success y'all had a year ago. For y'all to come out, score 4 touchdowns in week one, just how good did that feel? And what was y'all two's kind of conversation in the offseason, like knowing that y'all were kind of the 2 names that we're going to have to, that people would know at least?
Well, we knew we were going to be out there, and that just made us want to work harder at practice and stuff, get things done a little more, push other people the best we can so they can get out there and do their thing too.
I know there's a lot of opportunity for both of y'all there, but is there a competition level between y'all, kind of just how good both of you are, kind of see if you can top one another?
I wouldn't say that it's to top one another, but I feel we do push each other.
Okay. Derek, one thing I realized about Gage, and I watched a lot of this in practice too, off-season-wise, y'all throwing him the ball a lot more. I think he had 5 catches, led the team in catches on Thursday night. Kind of part of the plan, kind of what is it about his skill set that kind of lends y'all to want to get him the ball maybe out wide as well as handing it off to him?
Well, I thought it was pretty obvious this offseason. Noah Vaughn's probably one of the best running backs in the state. I think Gage Ledoux's an all-state running back, and he's not going to stand on the sideline. So we're going to create our offense around guys that were really good at football. And so if we have Noah Vaughn in the backfield, Gage Ledoux's somewhere else, or vice versa. And that's what I think is good about what we've kind of created is Noah, caught the first pass and went 80 yards. So Noah played slot receiver his sophomore year when we had Parker McGill. Kind of the same deal. Parker McGill, all-state running back. Noah Vaughn had to be on the field. and now he shifted running back. And so we just got to get our best players on the field and get the ball in their hands as much as we can. It's not rocket science. And so Gage is a heck of a football player. He's probably one of our best blockers too. And so kind of like the Brody Sloan effect, while Brody didn't play running back at all, like Gage can step in there and do at the drop of a hat. It kind of went unnoticed how much better our offense was when you have a fullback who can block as well as Gage can. So Gage can do a lot of things really well, as can Noah. And so we're going to try to use them, like I said, find out what your best players do the best and put them in position to be successful. And Gage had a great night the other night, and Matthew got him the ball. And Matthew, took the easies, and that's one thing that he's done such a great job of, not trying to make every single play himself. He's got players around him that he can, dump the ball to and go 80 yards, or Gage, the bootleg stuff that we got Gage on, and just made plays downfield.
I had some insight into this because I've watched y'all practice for weeks leading up to this. Marcus, you know this because you've watched Quarles and Derek and all that stuff. Maryville does not go under center. They're a shotgun team. That's what they do. They hike it from back there and they go. Ran a lot of under center against Heritage, and me and you talked about this Thursday night, but kind of reiterating that, just kind of what went into the decision to kind of add that little wrinkle to the offense a little bit.
Just personnel-wise, I just felt like it kind of made sense for us this year to experiment with it this summer. And so we got in it in June, and the first time I saw Matthew take a snap under center and hand it off or do a play fake, he was natural at it. I mean, it was very obvious. So we're not going to be under center, 90% of the time now. But I do think that it's an element we need to add to our offense because obviously we can run the football out of it. We can get some heavy personnel. We've got some pretty good tight ends. Joan Arms, Eli Elkins. Obviously Gage can play about any other position. And so we just felt like personnel-wise we need to be in some heavier sets. That means we're going to get under center and run the ball some too. It also makes your play action game a lot better as well. So something that we'll keep developing all year long and hopefully give defenses something else that they're going to have to look at. But, we don't plan to stop it anytime soon because I think we've got guys who are really good at it.
Matthew, I watched you at William Blunt. You almost never ran under center there as well. Just kind of what was it like first time you were asked to go down there? And like Derek mentioned, just kind of why does it feel natural to you in that regard?
When I was at William Blunt, we really never went under center. If we were taking a knee, it was in the shotgun. But we worked on it that first day of practice, and kind of like Coach said, it did kind of come natural. It just felt natural to me. I mean, when I was in Pee Wees, I used to go under center every play, but I don't know, it just felt natural, and it just came easy to me. So,
Gage, 3 touchdowns, 2 receiving, 1 rushing. Just kind of how does that kind of build some confidence heading into the rest of the year, just kind of with your ability to kind of show some week 1 success early?
It helps me a lot. I didn't really know how the season's going to turn out.
Yeah.
You don't know what it's going to be like until you're on the field, so it really excites me.
Derek, we've talked a lot about offense here, but your defense played really, really well.
No doubt.
Specifically, really even that front 7 kind of stuffing everything running-wise that they tried to do. So what can you say about that unit and the success they had in week 1?
They did a great job, and our defense deserved, in my opinion, the best. You look at watch the Heritage film, the best part of the whole game was our defense. I really believe that. And the front 7 kind of flying to the football, and we made plenty of mistakes. You go back and watch it, but at the same time, before the game, our message as coaches was we're going to make mistakes, make them full speed, make them flying around. Don't make them because we're hesitant. And our defense did that. They made mistakes, but they made them flying around, and they made up for some plays that we missed because they were running to the football and tackling and all that stuff. So I was super happy with how our defense performed. Obviously some bigger tests looming. Both sides of the ball are going to have to get better, and they're coming fast. You're talking Powell, get a region game with Farragut, Alcoa, and then travel on the road to Science Hill. So, we're going to be tested in the next few weeks, and I'm excited about it because that's what you sign up for. But so, we've got a long way to go. I'm excited about getting to coach our kids and seeing how we stack up. And if we have bumps in the road early, that's part of it because our goal is to be playing our best football at the end of October going into the postseason and hopefully can make a postseason run. So, and I'm excited about this team. We've got some phenomenal kids. These 2 young men right here, two awesome, kids that I pinch myself every morning because I get to coach them. And I love them. And so hopefully they'll lead us moving forward, and our defense will keep playing stout like they did Friday night.
We talked about heading into the year kind of the importance of kind of leaning on Jason Maneker, Frankie Diaz, Caleb Graham, Peyton Cooper, Jacob Richmond, those guys who played an awful lot for you last year. And I'm sure you never had a doubt those guys could do it, but in week one, is it nice to see those guys do what you know they're capable of and just be like, okay, well, I was right about that. We don't have to worry about those guys. We're good there.
Correct. Yeah. What it does is it takes pressure off of everybody else. It takes pressure off of your offense. It takes pressure off of your secondary, who we did have to replace some. But those guys are coming along, and our defensive staff do a phenomenal job working together and, trying to figure out, just like on offense, who your best 11 is. Because we played a lot of guys, on defense Friday night. And we're still playing a lot of receivers, and Gage is still playing a lot of positions, so we're still trying to figure out what's our best stuff, and we talked about this, Thursday after the game, but it's so much fun to watch, looking at seasons past and watch a game early in the year versus late in the year and see how much you've changed. Like, well, this kid was playing earlier in the year but not late, or vice versa. This sophomore or junior wasn't playing at all, and then after 5 or 6 games, they're starting. So, and then you have, unfortunately, you have guys get banged up too. So the next guy's got to be ready to go. So, we're looking forward to kind of seeing how it progresses.
Gage, how much different was that first practice when you show up and Carson's not here, Markel's not here, DJ's not here, and all those guys that were so important to last year's team are gone, and now you're kind of looking around like, all right, well, we got to figure out some guys here that can replace those guys. What was that first practice like?
At first, it's like almost unreal. Like that was the team for me. That's all I saw, and then they're gone, and then other people need to step up, and they do. So it's awesome.
We talked about this in the preseason, but how beneficial was it for you that obviously last year Markel and DJ and all those guys were so important at receiver? Obviously you being entered in your first year in this program kind of got to grow with some receivers that were also trying to grow into their roles as well.
Yeah, it definitely helps when we're both trying to learn the plays and learn the offense and the timing on the routes, and that helps build chemistry with those guys because we can talk about that after the play and stuff. And then we can watch film on last year's team and the receivers they had and Carson and all the little things they were good at. And, we can try to get better every day, and we're doing it together, so it helps build chemistry there.
I know it was just the jamboree, but that little swing pass to DJ in the jamboree and watching him go through it, just as a quarterback, how exciting is that for you? And I know you have guys like Gage and Noah who can also do that, but to have a wide out, you can just get it out there, and you kind of feel like anytime he catches the ball, he's going to score. Just how exciting is that for you to get him out there?
Having guys like that on your team just makes everything easier. Having offensive line up front, they don't get any recognition, but they're blocking their butts off every play for the big plays like that. And when you have a guy like DJ or Gage or Noah that you can get the ball to and you don't know if they're going to take it 85 yards, it just makes your job a lot easier.
Derek, this game this Thursday doesn't seem to have the fanfare that it had a year ago because Walter Nolan's not playing and the number one player in the country is not on the field, but how excited are you for the test of playing the 5A reigning champ and kind of that explosive offense and everything that they bring?
It's going to be a big challenge. We know that. Last year we got them at home, so now we got to travel this year, and so that adds a whole nother element. It's our first road game of the season. Obviously, it's going to be on a Thursday TV game, crazy environment. Pal's going to be out in droves to watch their Panthers beat the Rebels, they hope, and so it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm just excited about seeing whose turn is it to step up. Gage had 3 touchdowns, Thursday night. Obviously, I'd love for Gage to have 3 touchdowns every game, but you never know. He may not score at all, and somebody else may have a big game. And so, but that's what you want as a team. You want to have guys who are great teammates and understand some nights it's going to be their night, some nights it's not, but they're still going to make sure they do their job to make the team be successful. And if we have to do that to beat teams like Powell. Yeah. Because if we're just relying on one guy every night and don't have more weapons, or defensively one guy's making all the plays, coaches in this area are too good. Teams are too good. They'll figure you out and they'll beat you. So we've got to do it as a team. And if it's somebody's not, like Noah Vaughn's not, or Clemmer's not, or Zeke McCoy's not, whoever, we've got to have guys step up. And so Powell will be another chance for somebody else to step up.
Yeah, I still don't know of a single performance better than Noah Vaughn's game against Powell last year. He was incredible last year. Yeah. Gage, Matthew, I want to get y'all out of here with this. Just obviously, and Derek touched on this a little bit, Heritage is building towards something, but they're not there quite yet. Just how much for you guys as players is the excitement of that first real test and kind of a team like Powell, and how do you kind of make sure that you're ready to go and y'all improve to 2-0?
Well, I think, Powell, first true test of the season, like Coach Hunt mentioned, we got to go there road game, and it's going to be a crazy environment. You know, fans are going to be wild, and it's our first real test to see, you know, what we're made of. And, you know, we got to come prepared, and we got to have a good game plan, and we got to execute. But I feel like if we do all those things, you know, it'll take care of itself.
Gage, they did something that y'all couldn't do last year, and that's that raise that gold ball. Is this kind of a week where y'all can kind of make a statement and say that that's kind of what y'all, obviously that's the goal every year at Maryville, but kind of an early statement in the year to say that's what we're hunting for here?
Yeah, we definitely got to take it one game at a time, so next game's where it's going to start.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you all for joining us this morning, waking up early and all that stuff. And Mike, we'll toss it back to you.
Coach Hunt, when Coach Quarles came in here, you know, several years ago, he was always the last guy to take his coaching shorts off. I mean, it seemed like it was almost ready to snow. And that's how I judged going to blue jeans from shorts. I'd watch Coach Quarles, and I've continued that tradition with your team. What week do you think that I'm going to be able to switch over from shorts to blue jeans and come in here for this show?
For you or me? Talking about
for you. Because I'm going to switch when Maryville switches.
Yeah, I mean, I think around late October I'll be in pants. I'm not too proud to put a pair of pants on.
Boy, that might be a little hot for me. It was snowing when Quarles switched over. Remember those days?
Make no mistake, I'm no George Quarles. So,
hey, it's good to see you, Coach.
Good to see you.
And good luck to you in the season here.
Thank you.
Hey, time for a break, and when we return, it's headlines with Donnie Moore and the Sports Page Spotlight. You're listening to the Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 90 years, Anderson Lumber Company in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. Locally owned, so the money made here stays here. Whether you're renovating a kitchen, bath, new floors, doors, or windows, Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store and can take care of you from design to install. We welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa for all your home's needs, or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber since 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
We all want our loved ones to be safe. Denso in Maryville is at the forefront of creating technology for safer vehicles. Join the automotive industry with Denso in a fast, challenging, clean, and safe environment. They offer great benefits and competitive pay, as well as a convenient on-site healthcare facility, cafes, fitness center, and more. Start your future now. Entry-level production positions start at $16 an hour for second or third shift. Visit densocareers.com/Maryville to learn more and apply.
Klein Dental Arts is your new home for compassionate, worry-free dentistry. You can see Dr. Todd Klein and his staff at their dental home at 1905 West Broadway Avenue across from Weigel's. Klein Dental Arts offers complete dental care for the whole family, including 24-hour emergency care, flexible hours, and thoughtful care for patients with dental anxiety. Let Klein Dental Arts be your new dental home. Discover the difference and find your smile again.
Merlin's Music World in Maryville is owned and operated by Dylan Davis and has been a fixture in Maryville since 1987. Guitars, amplifiers, lessons, sound system, and video system installations are products available at Merlin's. Merlin's also offers a 24-track digital recording studio featuring audio engineer Rusty Chambers. Visit Merlin's at 1920 East Lamar Alexander Parkway or call 977-0093.
Make the big play with MVP Money Tools from Knoxville TVA Employees Credit Union. With KTVA ECUs, contactless debit card, direct deposits that hit up to 2 days early, credit cards that earn cashback reward points, and loans with competitive rates. Add all 4 MVP Money Tools to build your financial roster. It's everything you need to win financially.
Join us join us
Federally insured by
now.
NCUA. Equal opportunity housing lender. Restrictions may apply. Call for details. 800-467-5427.
The Blue Tick.
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and here are this week's sports headlines with Donnie Moore. Donnie, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mike. All right, gentlemen, let's look at some headlines. As a part of the settlement with the NFL following accusations of sexual misconduct by 24 women, Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson will serve an 11-game suspension, pay a $5 million fine, and undergo professional evaluation and treatment. As severe as this suspension seems to be, it wasn't as stiff as the league wanted. A ban of at least 1 year was the goal set by the league for violation of its personal conduct policy. During Watson's unpaid suspension, which ends on December 4, he'll lose more than $632,000 in salary. Watson has maintained his innocence since the allegations first surfaced.
I don't think.
What do you think, Ray? I know you're dying to tell
think-
us something.
I think he should have been kicked out of the NFL.
I agree. Ray, I
Well,
completely
a
agree.
lot of people do. You know,
Well, I can't believe that you negotiate with a guy with those charges against him. Why would you negotiate? I mean, he should have been. I hope the Cleveland Browns lose every game.
Well, here's the thing. They're going to start 0-11 because they're going to stink.
I
Oh,
hope
another
they
Troy
do.
stink prediction.
I mean, I wouldn't buy a ticket
No.
for nothing.
One of my best friends is a Browns fan. He's no longer a Browns fan.
Well,
he was a Browns fan.
Yeah.
It's my understanding, Coach Trail, that you're not accepting his apology on
No,
television.
nobody should.
No, I mean, why? I mean, he should be in jail.
He should.
I mean,
That's the problem.
Well,
that's the whole
there wasn't
problem.
enough evidence.
The DA refused to
20,
prosecute.
20
exactly.
people.
24 people.
24
24 people.
women. Yeah.
I mean,
But the
what?
NFL rules are built around the judicial system acting on charges.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, this is a civil matter, and NFL
you-
has no policy on a civil matter.
Do you know how hard it is to get 24 people to corroborate the same story? He did it.
I mean,
He did it.
He
For,
did it.
for
He
a quarter
did it.
million dollars each, yeah, it's not that hard.
It would be
I'm not
hard.
saying
Yeah, I
that.
know.
I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying that the NFL's rules were never built around
No, I
this kind of
understand that.
scenario.
Well-
They were built around a guy going to court and getting jail time.
Well, he should have been. He should have gone to jail. He should have been kicked out of the NFL.
And there's a lot of people
I mean-
that feel that way too.
I feel that.
I mean, right's right, wrong is wrong. I mean, that's it. I don't care who you are.
You're right.
You know, the rule is the rule.
I did-
And if you do that, if anybody else had done that, he'd have been kicked out.
He still said in a press conference. He still says, "I didn't do anything wrong."
No, I mean,
I just hope.
Well,
I just hope.
Yeah, let me tell you this: if he was in Russia, he'd be in jail.
I just hope.
Well, maybe Russia's right. We need to change.
For a change.
I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this, but anytime Dabo Sweeney talks about his program, he talks about players that are like really good people, like Deshaun Watson and stuff like that. I really hope Dabo Sweeney removes that name from that diatribe this year.
You hope he loses every game too this year.
I hope he doesn't say that Deshaun Watson's a good kid anymore or anything like that.
boy.
You probably should avoid that one.
I tell you what, that's
we could talk about this
Oh man,
for hours,
I mean,
couldn't we?
it's pitiful.
I know. Let's move on. Albert Pujols hit a pinch hit grand slam Thursday for the Cards versus their game in the Cardinals versus Colorado. I'm sorry. That was his number 690 for Mr. Pujols. With roughly 60 games left to play this season, can he get to the magic number of 700?
I hope so. And
I hope so too.
And I would like to just propose a proposal.
Okay, lay it
for
on us,
some
Troy.
teams. Cincinnati Reds.
Yes.
You're an awful baseball team. Every time you see Albert Pujols, you have to throw it right down the middle. And let's just get all the bad teams the Cardinals have to play Just pipe him down the middle and let Pujols swing for the fences and try and get to 700.
At least
He's
get some
got
publicity
6
out of the
nights.
year.
Yeah.
Right.
He's got 690.
Cincinnati's worthless. You got like 54 wins.
Right. Underhand the
You
ball
stink,
up there.
yeah,
Look,
just
put it down.
underhand it.
There it goes. Troy's integrity of the game right over the fence.
we have no integrity of the game. Just
Set it on a tee.
Well, no,
just
and
put it on the ball on a tee.
to
and
make
let him hit
matters
it.
worse, like the Cardinals are a guaranteed playoff team, so it's fine. Just throw it right down the middle and let them swing for the fences.
All right, let me go ahead and get this out of the way. Serena Williams, the 40-year-old, 23-time Grand Slam champion, has made the announcement in Vogue magazine's September edition that she will retire from tennis after the U.S. Open, set to begin on the 29th of this month. The 4-time Olympic gold medalist and former number 1 ranked women's tennis player said of her impending retirement, and this is a quote, "It's the hardest thing that I could ever imagine." But she also said she will enjoy her next few days.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's great. There's no doubt about it.
She has to go down as one of the most dominant athletes in the history of sports.
She was a fantastic tennis player. There's no question.
Well, from our standpoint, Coach Trail, we're the only ones here that are retired. We enjoy our retirement, don't we? You got something to look forward to.
No question.
I guarantee you.
She'll like it.
I wish I'd done it 20, 50, 30 years ago.
At 30?
Yeah. I wish I'd have quit work at 30. I mean, that. I kind of like it, drinking lemonade and sitting in the shade.
There you go, buddy.
Or maybe retired after the Alabama game over here, in 73.
Yeah.
That's called getting fired. It's different than retirement.
It is.
Different thing.
No, Tennessee actually won that game in 73. I just made that up.
After 2 rounds of the BMW Championship at Wilmington Country Club in Wilmington, Delaware, Adam Scott stands alone with a slim one-shot lead at 8 under par. 4 other players, Scotty Scheffler, Cameron Young, Corey Connors, and Jordan Spieth, stand tied at 7 under. Play will resume today. The purse for this golf tournament is a cool $15 million. Wow.
Mike, you been practicing?
Mike, go up there and win that thing, and you can come home with $15 million.
You can buy the sports page for Brian.
Yeah. We'll have another transaction.
You can pay about half of Brian's bills.
And raises for everybody. How's that sound? Huh?
And a second camera.
Yeah.
We have 2 other cameras. We're working on it. Okay.
Yeah. Sounding good.
Mike, in NASCAR news, Eric Almirola yesterday backtracked on his plans to retire at the end of the 22 season to remain at the wheel of Stewart-Haas Racing Team's number 10 Ford. An official announcement is expected to be made within the next 2 weeks.
Well, that's good. He's staying in it.
Yeah, he's hanging in there.
And I think they're going up to Watkins Glen, I believe, here pretty soon. And I think there's going to be some international drivers that's going to take place in that deal up there. So, that's going to be exciting, too. I always like these drivers that cross over.
I do, too.
Jimmy Johnson's struggling a little bit in IndyCar, especially on the road courses, but he's been real good on the ovals. And I like that crossover. I think it's good for racing.
It is good for it.
I'd like to see a lot more of
Draw
it.
some mixture fans.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that this guy's staying around.
I do, too. Yeah, he's a good guy. Well, Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees has 46 home runs so far this season. That puts him on a pace to break the American League single-season record of 61 and 61, set by Roger Maris. That puts him on a pace to hit 63 this year. There are the 8 players so far that have hit this plateaued at the 60 homer seasons that's been done in history. Only 8. Here they are. Barry Bonds in 2001 for the Giants. He hit 73. Number 2, Mark McGwire, the 1998 Cardinals. He hit 70. Number 3, Sammy Sosa, 98 Cubs, hit 66. Number 4, Mark McGwire and the 99 Cardinals, hit 65. Number 5, Sammy Sosa for the 2001 Cubs, 64. Number 6, Sammy Sosa of the 99 Cubs, hit 63. Number 7, Roger Maris of the 61 Yanks for 61. And number 8, Babe Ruth of the 27 Yanks, hit 60. Now notice something. 6 out of those 8 were hit during the so-called steroid era. Only 2 of them, Roger Maris and Babe Ruth, 1961 and 1927.
So are you saying that Roger Maris is still the home run king?
Well, for me,
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's the way I see it.
61 and 61.
How about you, Coach Trail? You're an old school guy. How do you see that?
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. I tell you what, I don't think if you're doing anything in the gray area that it shouldn't count.
Yep.
You know, and I'm a real. I tell you what, this drug thing is really getting in every sport, high schools, everything else. I mean, it's terrible.
Yep.
And if you reward that, it's going to get worse.
Yeah. Aaron Judge.
He's at 46 right now.
Well,
he's sitting at 46.
Yeah, but he's free agent after this year, isn't he, Troy?
Because the Yankees fumbled that one.
Yeah, buddy.
They wanted $400 million, which I get is a lot of money. And they offered him $350, I believe, or something around there. He said, "No, I'm not taking it." And now he's going to hit 60 home runs, and he's going to get his $400 million. He's going to sell you. You see,
he is.
That's why you bet on yourself sometimes.
Has he got your vote for MVP at this point?
Yeah, he does. I think so. Yeah.
Well, that's it for my headlines. Mike, back to you for the spotlight.
Okay, well, we're gonna stay on baseball a little bit.
Okay.
We had the passing here recently of Vin Scully. Vin Scully passed away. What an impact he had on the game of baseball. One of the great voices of all of sports, and he was the voice of the Los Angeles Dodgers for 67 years, the longest tenure for any broadcaster. And of course, he made "It's time for Dodger baseball," and that was heard around L.A. and California and really all across the country for quite some time. But Coach Trail, he was 94 years old, and you sort of hate to see a guy like that was announcer for the Brooklyn Dodgers and had so many great calls behind the mic.
Kind of like Harry Carey.
With the passing of Vin Scully, is there anybody left that behind that mic that carries the weight of a Vin Scully or Harry Carey?
The modern day announcer, they do not know history of the game, and this is a thing that we're losing in all sports. The people don't appreciate what the original guys did. I mean, these guys, it was their life.
Yeah.
They gave their life to it, and when they went to the game, they knew everything that was going to happen or what didn't happen, and they were a true student of the game.
Yeah.
They just don't show up and call the game.
Yeah.
To me, I don't have any announcers now that I really enjoy listening to.
Vin Scully, Donnie, he had this rare talent of behind the mic of calling the game like he was just talking to you individually.
Yeah.
How many people have a talent that can do that? These people were listening to him like he was part of the family.
Yeah.
He made you feel like you were there and you were part of the game.
Absolutely. And such great calls, but you go back to his beginning. He was the youngest, Marcus. He was the youngest ever to announce the World Series. 26 years old. Wow. Remarkable. And of course he had some good training. Red Barber, there with the Brooklyn Dodgers. He had a pretty good background to get started. But I know some of these guys are probably younger than Coach Trail and Donnie and I, but I remember him calling Hank Aaron's 715th home run on television. He hit that home run off of, believe it or not, a Dodger, Al Downing. Was a great pitcher for the Yankees, back in the day. But he threw the pitch, and it looked to me like Downing was kind of wanting his name in the history book because he piped that ball, buddy. He piped it right down the middle, and Aaron took care of it right over the left field wall down in Atlanta. And then there was Kirk Gibson's dramatic World Series home run against the Oakland A's. Unbelievable, absolutely an unbelievable call. I was sitting there and I was ready to go to bed, and I was sitting there and watching it on television in the bedroom, and I just could not believe the guy hit the ball out of the ballpark. And then his call, was amazing. And then, he called games for, as we said, Brooklyn and L.A., but Jackie Robinson to Sandy Koufax. He called the perfect game in the World Series, the only perfect game in World Series history, Don Larson.
Yep.
Don Larson's perfect. Of course, I didn't see that one. That's 55, but Coach Trail probably was young.
I saw it.
Yep.
all of these are a little bit before my time, just a little.
Yeah, but you've seen the clips.
I have, yes.
Slightly before you.
You know what was amazing about him? They talk about all the baseball games and the great calls he had in baseball, but he called the 1982 NFL championship game, and when Dallas played San Francisco and Dwight Clark made that last second catch, game-winning catch in the end zone to win the game for. I guess that's the 49ers against Dallas. He called that game, and of course he's in the Hall of Fame, and just what a great career he's had. Donnie, I remember one game he called a long time ago. I always like to tell this story. It was when Casey Stengel was the manager for the New York Mets, and the Dodgers went into New York to play there in the Polo Grounds, the first game of the season, and Scully was talking about all the signs they were holding up, and the Mets were terrible. You remember, they were absolutely terrible, absolutely terrible. Scully was talking about and describing all the signs that people were carrying around, and the first batter for the Dodgers came up to the plate, and I don't remember who was pitching for the Mets, but anyway, he sent the ball to home plate, and the first pitch, the first ball of the baseball season, the Dodger batter hit it out. He hit it right out of Polo Grounds, and Scully looked down there, and somebody was holding up a sign, "We'll get him next year. We'll get him next year." But what was so great about Scully is that he could call the game and tell the stories.
Oh yeah, he brought the stories into the game.
Absolutely, that's what the people wanted to hear on the radio. They didn't want a lot of facts and what was going on in the game. They wanted between pitches. They wanted to know about Jackie Robinson and Gil Hodges and Duke Snider. What happened back in Brooklyn? Back in 1953 or 54. That's missing from broadcast today.
They don't study that.
No,
Mike.
No.
They don't study that.
Yeah,
these guys come along and they, decide I want to be a broadcaster.
Yeah.
They don't have a history.
Yeah,
the history's not there.
And it's like in the old time football. You talk about Barrett Bryant and people like that. Some of these guys, they don't even know who Bear Bryant was or what he did or where he was from or anything.
And Mike, obviously, like you mentioned all these things that Vin's kind of known for, and obviously I wasn't alive for any of that, but as a guy who baseball is my favorite sport, it's, what I want to do for my career in long term is write baseball.
Yeah.
In 2016, his last game, I made sure that I got to the TV and put the radio overlay over it so I could listen to Vin's last game because you just understand what he's meant to the sport. And, obviously, and baseball lost a really, really important
Coach Trail
part of its
and I was
history.
talking about this a little bit about the show, for the show, but Vin Scully, the fans, as we talked about when he was announcing the game, felt like he was family, but he was also family when he was around them.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody'd come up to him, and he wasn't above anybody else, and he wanted to know about your family and what was going on and what game you saw and, what kind of groceries you buy. I don't know, but he was very personable.
Most people would turn their TV on, turn the sound down, turn the radio on to listen to Vince Scully.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the whole deal. I mean, they knew they could see it there, but they wanted to hear what he had to say about it.
I think he made an interesting. Of course, he called 25 World Series game, but he made the quote there a few years before he passed, and he said, sometimes I'd get up in the afternoon to go to the ballpark, and I really didn't want to go. I just didn't really feel like, the age was taking in. But he said, I got out to the ballpark, and I watched all these people out there and said, it wasn't me bringing them up. They brought me up.
Yeah.
That takes a real special person doesn't it, Donnie, to make a comment like that in this day and age.
It wasn't all about him.
Right.
It was about the game.
Yeah.
And, I think that there's something to be said for the fact that there are so many broadcasters who become, really famous in their local area. Like, as a Red Sox fan, like Jerry Remy, who also passed away recently. He's huge in Boston, but Jerry Remy's not known nationally. There are very few broadcasters in any sport who become known from coast to coast. And, you could literally name it, like he said, Harry Carey, Vin Scully. I would say John Madden, but the list is really short. Yeah. And whenever you lose, and we seemingly are losing a lot of those guys, recently, but it's a very short list, and they deserve, the credit that they have
Yep.
for being such big parts of their sport.
And you remember those, they can bring that voice right now on the radio. Lindsey Nelson.
Yeah.
When I grew up, I thought Lindsey Nelson graduated from the University of Notre Dame because he had all the Notre Dame broadcasts
Yeah.
on Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon. And I remember one thing. I think of Lindsey Nelson, Notre Dame football, and it's Lindsey Nelson's going, Andy Huff on the carry, and I'm going, yeah, that's Lindsey Nelson, and every one of these guys, had that voice and that deal.
I think today
They were part of
Yeah.
the game.
Yeah.
They were part of the game.
Hey,
And
Lindsey-
they didn't just call the game. They were in the game.
A lot of people thought Lindsey Nelson was Notre Dame football. All across the country, they had no idea he graduated from the University of Tennessee.
I think we're losing, I think the talent pool's there, but so many of them are going to streaming or TV.
Yeah.
Radio just isn't, and I hate to say this because we're on the radio, but radio and it doesn't bring in that talent that it did because they want to be seen. They want to be carried.
Hey,
But
they
the thing is, baseball, and I will continue to argue this, should just be pulled off television because it's just better on the radio.
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah.
I can listen to a baseball game driving along and be totally know what's going on, be totally interested, totally invested. I turn on the TV and I'm asleep in the second inning.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just boring to watch.
I know, and I'm the same way. Coach Trail and I both grew up with listening to sporting events on the radio, and I know this is not a big thing down here, but I am a racing fan, and I grew up near the Indianapolis 500, and they had an announcer by the name of Sid Collins. When I was growing up, he had the great voice, and I've got probably 12 of his races that I've got taped, and every once in a while I'll be sitting on the back porch and I'll just put it in because Sid's going to tell you stories. It could be the 1962 500, the 1955 500, and he's interviewing all these different celebrities and so forth. It's fascinating to listen to those guys work. Yeah.
They don't come along very
No,
often.
we're going to miss them. There's no doubt about it.
Well, for Tennessee fans, it's John Ward.
It's
too.
John Ward.
Yep.
Yeah. For all those years. We had another passing, too, and that was Bill Russell, the great Boston Celtic player. He was 88 years old and had a little bit of a kind of rubbing of shoulders with Bill Russell. When I was a senior at the University of Tennessee, he spoke at our awards banquet. When the last year I was there, and I don't remember a whole lot about what he said or the banquet, but I do remember this: a lot of kids from the Orange Tie Club members went up to get his autograph, and he would not sign any autographs. And he stood by that, just about his whole life. I guess, Troy, if you got a Bill Russell autograph, probably worth a little bit.
Probably worth a lot.
But he just did not sign them. But he would give you all kinds of advice on life and basketball and everything else, and would talk to you, but not so much about autographs. But a great passing player there that we lost.
Something to be said about him is he did as much off the court as he did on the court, and he obviously did so much on the court with 11, NBA Finals and all that stuff. But he was, equally as impactful off the court, and that's pretty remarkable. Obviously, NBA is retiring the number 6 whenever, it will be retired and then grandfathered in for some players who are still wearing it. But the first player to ever have his number retired, so kind of puts him in that elite category with Jackie Robinson, league-wide.
They're taking that number out.
Yeah, league-wide.
No new number 6s.
And you know what, Coach Trail, he didn't make his name by scoring.
No,
he wasn't a great scorer. He only averaged 15 points a game, as big as he was. But I want you to listen to this. He averaged 22 and a half rebounds a game. 22 and a half rebounds. And you and I remember on Sunday afternoons when they'd have the NBA game on in black and white, and you always tuned in for the Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain matchup. The Philadelphia 76ers and the Boston Celtics. Who was going to win that? Was Wilt going to get his points, or was Russell going to stop him? I mean, not a greater matchup in all of basketball I can think of. Huh?
And it was a show they put on because they knew that's what they came to see.
Yeah.
Russell to block shots and Chamberlain to figure out how to get it in the hole.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. This modern day stuff, I guess, it's just not like it was.
Yeah. 11 NBA championships, 5 NBA MVP awards, 12-time NBA All-Star, And we've mentioned the number 6 being going to be retired. 2-time NCAA champion at San Francisco, 55 and 56. And he coached an NBA champion, 68-69. Unbelievable career. Hall of Famer as a player, as a coach. Hall of Famer is in the College Basketball Hall of Fame, and Olympic performer. What's left?
Nothing.
He's done it. If a uniform's going to be retired, those credentials pretty good.
No, but I don't.
He is one of the greatest winners, and maybe the greatest winner of all time.
Yeah, Troy. Let me ask you this, and I know this is before your time and everything, but you've heard a lot of. Okay, we'll come back. We'll come back. It's all right. We're flexible, right? We're flexible. Hey, it's time for a break, and when we return, it's Hot Takes with Troy and Marcus. You're listening to the Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Blue Tick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Or sink your teeth into our one-of-a-kind chicken and bacon pizza, made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon, red onions, and covered in Brussels petals. The Blue Tick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Blue Tick Tavern, located at 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville. Waters Equipment is your East Tennessee New Holland agriculture and construction dealer. Waters Equipment has been serving Blount County for 48 years and has 2 locations in Maryville for sales and service for New Holland equipment. Offering shop and field service for trucks and equipment of all brands, Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000 for your rental needs. That's 238-9000. Waters Equipment New Holland. Excellence in service. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at StevensonTire.net.
Your newspaper? That's right. The Daily Times is your newspaper, tailored to where you live, emphasizing the things that affect you and keeping track of the people and players in our community. The award-winning Daily Times can be delivered each morning right to your door or inbox with the latest in local news and sports. For a 30-day free trial offer, call 981-1100 and begin enjoying your life, your times, every day with the Daily Times.
Dunkin' has what you need to conquer the day. So if you want to go from, I don't got this, to, I got this, well, then get this. A bold, smooth espresso drink from Dunkin'. Like a layered velvety caramel macchiato, a rich chocolatey mocha latte, or a creamy non-dairy oat milk latte. Because this day isn't going to conquer itself. No, you're going to do that. Take a sip of You Got This with Dunkin' Espresso drinks. Order ahead on the app plus earn rewards. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month.
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville, and this is Mike Edwards. And before we get to Troy and Marcus here, I wanted to finish up real quick here on Bill Russell. I've got a tough question for you, and Troy and Marcus can both get in on this, but who had the greatest impact when we talk about sports and human rights, Jackie Robinson or Bill Russell?
I still got to go with Jackie.
I'm going to go with Jackie, too.
I think Jackie had more support than sometimes was credited, but he was there first. I mean, and Bill impressed and broke a lot of barriers and records, but as far as all of major sports, you have to look at Jackie.
Yeah, and I would add that when Jackie did it, and around the same time that they were doing it, baseball was much bigger than basketball, so Jackie had a much bigger platform at the time. I think, obviously, Jackie passed, and so I think Bill has obviously had a longer length of time in that kind of world, but Jackie, when it mattered most, is when you have your platform, when you're on your stage, when you're in the box or you're on the court. And Jackie at the time played in a much bigger sport than Bill did.
Yeah. And Jackie Robinson he set the foundation.
That's what I say.
He set the foundation.
Yeah.
He formed everything down there, and then Bill, he sort of
Kinda
started the house.
He reaped the benefits of Jackie.
And he started building the house and getting it on up to the roof or whatever, so to speak. So I would tend to agree with that. Anybody disagree?
But I think also after their careers were over, after their playing careers were over, I think it's fairly equal what they did afterwards when they continued. I think those are pretty equal on scale. But it was different issues from different decades, but they were still tackling the same problem.
And you think of what Jackie Robinson could have done if he had the lifespan of Bill Russell. Bill Russell lived to be 88, and I don't know for sure. I think Jackie, 56?
Yeah, he was in his
56
50s.
years old, somewhere around in there.
Yeah.
Boy, just think of what more good he could have done if he'd had a little longer life.
And Rachel Robinson has done a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
But Rachel Robinson didn't play in major leagues and isn't as, I'm not going to say as well known, but she's not Jackie. You know, Jackie was Jackie, and so she's obviously done a great job of carrying that torch. But it would have been awesome to see what Jackie could have accomplished.
And they've just recently opened the Jackie Robinson Museum. I think they're in New York, and that's just happened in the last few weeks, hasn't it, Marcus?
I believe it opened the first of the month, maybe.
Yeah,
was that first week of August? I think?
Yeah, and they've been working on that for quite some time.
Almost a decade.
Yeah. So it's happened.
And just the reviews have been really, really good about what they've got in there and how much of his memorabilia is in there and things along that line.
Yeah. Boy, I hope all those guys up there that's killing everybody and knows to go in there and steal everything like they are doing in New York.
Yeah. And Yogi still thinks he was out when he stole home Coast Trail. He says he was out. I don't know.
Aren't there pictures of that? I feel like we know that Jackie.
You got to run that back slow motion, but it's close. It's close. But Yogi says it wasn't close, so I don't know. Hey, it's all yours, Troy.
Yeah, so, obviously in the spirit of college football, and I'm sure we'll look at more broad-scale stuff next week, but I did want to take some time, and I want to have everybody just come here and say some bold predictions for college football. I want you to really get wild out there and really let your imagination fly. Anybody got any that just come to mind?
I'm going to tell you this right now, and this may not be as bold as it is obvious, but the NCAA announced the rule changes that are coming out for the fall for college football. So we're not going to get a deceptive injury rule. We're going to get a reporting process where coaches can basically say they were making the guys fall down and pretend to cramp to force a timeout.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you the SEC will lead the nation in the number of reports filed with the NCAA to follow up and investigate. Between Tennessee and Ole Miss, it will be a battle to see who puts in the most complaints about that by the end of the year. The cap is max is on there is 24 between those two teams, and I'm going to bet on 22 or 21 reports filed by the end of the year.
So the over and under is 22?
I'm going with 22.
22 is the over under on that.
I do have a local one. I believe Hendon Hooker breaks Peyton Manning's single-season passing touchdown record this year. It's currently at 36.
Ooh, that's bold.
I think Hendon Hooker breaks it.
Oh, that's another Hawaii.
I do think Hawaii's good. I might buy Hawaii beating Vanderbilt in Week 1, Ray. I'm not sold on it yet.
I would not change.
I'm not sold on it yet, but I'm thinking about it.
I've got a bold prediction on Hawaii. I think the University of Hawaii will join the Big Ten.
Well, I tell you what.
The Big Ten.
That's not nice, Mike. That's not nice.
Holy cow!
They're going to get a lot of travel miles.
Well, they've gone all the way to California, stretch it all the way to Honolulu. Heck, let's don't stop in California. And
That's a little far out there. But
Hey,
I don't know. I can't. With the way it's flopping around, I don't know.
Hey,
it could happen.
If you're playing at the University of Wisconsin and it's starting to snow the last of October, wouldn't you welcome a trip out to Hawaii to play the?
I agree with that. I agree with that. I mean, I'm for that.
Look at Troy. He's over it. It's not a bad idea, really. I mean, all those teams are up there freezing to death. Give them a trip to Hawaii to play. Huh?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
But it is a good idea.
Hey, this is not so bold because Mike and I talked about this already. We won't be talking much about Notre Dame this year on the show.
Why?
They're going to stink.
Oh, no.
They're going to be a 7-8 win team, which is not really stink, but Notre Dame, it's not going to.
I don't think they're going to be all that bad, but I wish they weren't playing Ohio State the first game in Columbus.
that is going to be the definition of a wood chipper.
I kind of wish they were opening up against Earlham College out of Richmond, Indiana,
or Ball State
Teachers College. How in the world did they let that game slip away? And it's going on. They're going to make a trip all the way. It would have been a lot easier to make that trip up to South Bend. They wouldn't have had to play the expenses. They could have made more money, but they're coming all the way down here. I don't know. But I think Notre Dame's going to have a fair year. I don't know, maybe a 9-3 or an 8-4. That's not going to
9-3. I'd be.
I know that's
Tennessee take that tomorrow and not play.
In a heartbeat, not good. Huh?
I think Tennessee's going to go 9-3.
That's not good. I mean, that's.
I don't think they will.
Hey,
I think they are.
I don't think that they've got enough people to do it. The quarterback gets hurt, it's done.
Yeah, the depth issue may be depth will be an issue.
But that's with every team.
Huh?
That's with every team. If your quarterback gets hurt, you're probably done.
Well, no.
Most teams, except for Alabama, but they got 8 5-star quarterbacks. That's not fair.
Well, that's what you have
They're playing video games.
Hey, that's what you have to judge by. You have to go to the top to see where you're trying to get. If you don't go by Alabama, what else?
I hear you.
That's
before the September 17th. Bold prediction: George Quarles leads ETSU over his alma mater Furman at William B. Green Stadium.
That'd be sweet. ETSU is preseason top 25, I believe. Projected to have a pretty good year.
That's
ATSU.
good. Yeah,
that's
pretty nice.
I hate to leave Notre Dame in a downer right here, but
why they're a
downer? Wait a minute.
It's over, Mike. Mike, it's over.
I know they're on the ropes again. They're always on the ropes with Troy. I understand all that. Troy's going to let me have it when they lose and all. I know
he's going to let you have it when they win.
Troy is also the guy.
Troy
is also the guy that thought that Tennessee was just going to walk through Notre Dame and go out there in the World Series. Didn't he? Wasn't he piping that back? And then all of a sudden, he lost his tongue.
Yeah.
After it was all over, there wasn't any. It was silence.
No, the show was over then, so there was nothing to talk about.
Oh no! Yeah.
Well, why are we rehashing things from June?
Oh, I know.
Another thing. Well, I got the guy here.
Hold on. I want to throw in one
What do you got?
boldest prediction is that I believe that this year, with the improvement of the Miami Hurricanes, they will have at least 24 fans per season. Per game.
No, I actually, Miami's gonna win the ACC. I said it last year. I was wrong. I'm doubling down.
And
Miami's winning the ACC
and they'll do
this
that
year.
at home in front of 24 fans, up from the 12 that were there last year.
Also, Mike will enjoy this. I think Shane Beamer might get fired after this year, but he's definitely going to be on the hot seat after this year. South Carolina, they ain't got it.
I like South Carolina.
I know you do. I know you love South Carolina.
I like Shane Beamer in South Carolina. I like where they're
he ain't
going.
going nowhere.
Yeah.
His butt's going to be hot after this year.
No, he's got Spencer Rattler in there. That's going to be a whole different ball game over there.
Spencer Rattler got benched last year.
Well, I know, but the guy.
Donnie, blow the whistle. We don't have to listen to Ray.
Hey, the final whistle is blown. That'll do it for today's edition of the Goatee Sports Page. Thanks to Aaron Ishmael at Loud Media, our host, the Blue Tick Tavern, and all our sponsors. For Donnie Moore, Ray Trail, Marcus Fitzsimmons, and Troy Provo Heron. Until next Saturday, this is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, wishing everyone good sports.